Sri Lanka University has a representation principle from the United Nations and the deviation from the concept of international relations. Vision of international goes far beyond this. It goes towards bridging the village and city by gathering the challenge of our times. Also, the youth to shift paradigms into reality. Slogan, develop more, and our team, shifting policy paradigms. Our purpose driven motivations that the youth of Sri Lanka commonly share. At SLMUN 2016, we give voice to these pressing issues that adult community fail to solve or the reluctant society. For those of you who are asking why the magnitude of our vision, let me simply say that Sri Lanka Model United Nations will embark with conviction, endurance, and an undisputed rule of development and diplomacy. They are young leaders who use their arguments to formulate policy. Very simply, these are foreign for negotiation. They are leaders of tomorrow are made to see through the lens of diplomacy. Ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka Model United Nations 2015 will be held from 14th to the 16th of August at BMICS. Therefore, I make a open invitation for institutions, higher education institutions, and students to register with Sri Lanka Model United Nations and make it a life-changing experience. Therefore, it will not take your time, but I thank all of you for your presence here today. I thank our sponsors, and Sri Lanka Model United Nations 2015 will be a life-changing experience. Thank you, Reminder. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker for the day, Madam Similar. He is currently studying at the Georgetown University, Washington, D.C. for his Master's of Science in Foreign Services, focusing on global politics and security, and he currently works with the Global Bureau, Movement for Local Research. He graduated magna cum laude, Bachelor of Arts 2014, a double major in political science and history at the Clark University of States. He interned in the Sri Lankan delegation at the United Nations headquarters in New York. He also interned in the permanent observer of the Caribbean community to the United Nations in New York. He is the Secretary General of Outstanding Delegate Award not once but twice at the Harvard National Annual Conference in 2012 and 2014. Mr. Yohan Sinawat, on behalf of the Sri Lankan Model United Nations, I humbly request you to hold your hands to members of the corporate community, members of the ESCOPs, and broadcast media, fellow representatives from international organizations, government officials, government organizations, of course, Mr. Ayala Lawala, the Charge of Affairs of this conference, and I might even add the powerhouse behind the initial inception of this initiative and as to what it has grown today. So as a past student, as a past participant in this initiative, it gives me great pleasure to be here. And it's highly satisfying that I can come back and see how this initiative has grown in order to encompass a broader number of students across Sri Lanka, which is very heartening because when we initially began, it was purely confined to a far more smaller group of students and whatnot. And it's so heartening to see the kind of giant strides that Mr. Lawala and the Executive Organizing Committee have made in terms of really broadening the scope of this initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd really like to dedicate this speech today to addressing some of the qualms that many of the representatives here from the corporate and the press community would have. And that is, for example, there are members here, and we're extremely grateful for them, that have sponsored this initiative. So I'm curious, all of you must be curious as to what exactly is this initiative about? And naturally, just like any other business decision, you'll be anxious about whether is this the right initiative to partner with. Now, as a member, as a past student, I'd like to speak a bit about my experiences and what this initiative has given to me and how it has benefited me, and therefore give you a more clear understanding as to what you're getting involved with and what is the nature of this investment, or what is the outcome in terms of, especially in terms of looking at things from a corporate social responsibility angle. Now, when we think of Model UN, the first thing that we think about is international affairs, current affairs, being informed about political, getting to know about the decisions made by high-level political leaders and what. It's a lot of that, and that's all UN. When I look back, what Model UN really gave me was a unique skill set, a skill set which the Sri Lankan education system, to my knowledge, still does not offer. And that's why I think this is a fantastic initiative, because it addresses a crucial gap in the Sri Lankan education system. And what is this gap? And what is this skill set? I feel that this is the skill set which many of you from the corporate community can empathize with. Things like learning to work in a team, especially in a team consisting of very successful individuals with very big egos, and trying to find out how to exactly promote your initiative, or to how to garner consensus for your initiative. Now, that's a skill set which we don't learn in school, and which I have come to find incredibly important in my line of work in the multilateral diplomatic arena. Let me give you a small synopsis as to what a Model UN conference entails, and hopefully you'll understand how complex it is, and maybe you'll even consider recruiting some of the delegates who end up doing well in that conference because of the skill set that they provide. At a Model UN conference, each delegate is afforded a country, and they discuss a particular issue. And they're supposed to argue and present a resolution which would satisfy the interests of a particular country. Now, they have to show the international community that we're doing something about poverty, that we're doing something about climate change. But having said that, if you're the US delegate, you also have risks, but you need to safeguard it. So you need to play this fine balancing game of making sure that your sponsors, or the people who fund your government and the political campaigns of the very people that you represent, are addressed, but at the same time, reach out and address the kind of qualms that people in the general community raise regarding climate change and whatnot. But anyways, so we have, let's say, 50 people in a committee who are given different countries. They come, they address a particular issue of concern, let's say climate change, and they try to hammer out a resolution which, to the best of their knowledge, addresses their interests, but at the same time addresses the qualms of the international community. Now, unlike the real UN, there's a small catch in Model UN, and that is that there are awards. So the award is given to the individual who is able to submit a resolution, a submitter or a sponsor, and that is the individual who spearheads a resolution. And this individual has to work with everyone, compile a resolution, and then convince all of the people that he worked with that he needs to take responsibility for leading that resolution. And once it is presented, he needs to ensure that the entire committee votes for his resolution. Now, imagine this. Most of the kids who take part are incredibly committed to winning this award. So you have 30 to 40 students who want to win this award, who want to write a resolution, who want to lead, and whatnot. So, and the individual who ends up winning this award is someone who is able to convince all of these incredibly successful and dedicated students that they need to support him. They need to, take a subordinate position and, afford leadership to this particular individual who will champion this resolution. Now, that is an incredibly nuanced skill set, to convince many of your peers of your same age, of incredible academic accomplishment, that they need to support you when from the get-go they've been studying in order to win that award. Now, I find that as an incredible skill set which is incredibly useful in the corporate community where competition is provided a premium. What is the second kind of skill set? What is the second kind of outcome or benefit of this initiative? And that is the ability to listen.
I think when I was young, and especially when I started interning at the UN, I was, when I initially began, I had real trouble not reacting to someone, you know. I remember speaking to a few countries who had alternative opinions to ours at that time on very sensitive issues. And, you know, there was this internal voice which was always quick to react as soon as I heard certain keywords or passionate words or whatnot. But then part of my training at the UN was to detach yourself and learning to empathize with the interests of the other party and realize that this is a difficult process. But learning to listen to the other party and trying to work out an arrangement where the interests of both parties are satisfied. And in some cases, you're not only negotiating with the person on the other side of the table, but you're also negotiating with people back home who you take directions from. So I think that's an incredibly complex kind of skill set to acquire, and I think this is particularly pertinent in the given post-conflict environment in Sri Lanka, where we need to promote an environment where we are tolerant of diverse opinions, where we don't shut down people just because they disagree with us, but we have the kind of patience, we have the kind of fortitude or the kind of tolerance to listen to people with diverse opinions and to arrive at an agree to disagree approach or a formula, or try our very best to see the common points of consensus and try to build a resolution based on those common values or shared interests, however small they may be. You keep belaboring on that point, you keep belaboring on that common ground until we arrive at a far more agreeable consensus. So I think these two skills itself alone are good reasons enough for members of the corporate community to invest in this educational initiative. I think it's quite bland, the kind of financial returns or that you could acquire. We have like 2,000 to 3,000 students. The main purpose of my speech give you an idea apologize for the minor glitch of technological glitch that was present last time we played the trailer. However, we've fixed that, so please direct your eyes one more time towards the screen.
Given a blind eye to these issues until they meet some handicaps, or confront them as a united global community. And as you, we will not go back. We're going to fight, and we're going to keep fighting, because it is our responsibility. Because you are fighting for your country, you're fighting for your family. Yours hurts a little less, and it makes a little more sense.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to announce that this event is actually being live streamed right now on slmun.org/live. We would also like to recognize the presence of our education partner, 3WGE, Mr. Viran Pereira, Director. Moving on with the day's proceedings, I would like to call upon on stage our Charge d'Affaires of Sri Lanka Model United Nations 2015, Mr. Rohan Elavala.
a distinguished gathering and my students. I think I don't have anything to say about this MUN skills. Because already it has been delivered to you by one of our oldest members of the committee. We started in 2005. That is, we venture into the international diplomacy for the past decade. We have been organizing this, and I think more than 5,000 students participated in this. We have simulated more than 25, 30 UN committees, and most of the students, those who have gained experience in this, are doing very well. And what this is a passion for me, work with the students, and not only this, but I work for the Duke of Edinburgh International Award for the past 2 years. Always I wanted to tell something to change their life, to change the life of the students, at least to do something. So I'm happy today because I have 3 days, 4 days back, I went to the SLMUN alumni and seen all the students, most of them have those who are registered in that thing. They are doing well and they are in good universities and so many things. Like for example, our keynote speaker, Johan, and there are so many other better students also, right? So anyway, I'm happy to hear that most of the sponsors, our executive committee has done a tremendous job finding all sponsors from platinum to the silver and other sponsors, and that is their dedication. And I think they have learned a lot cooperating with the sponsors. I think they have learned a lot. That is the way of studying. You should get experience, not only theory in the school. You go here and there and find all the opportunities, and you have that experience. Because I have noticed so many students that done the education and other things very well because of this practice. And I don't think that the MUN delegates always study for the skills. All these skills, I just wanted to tell that Johan has said to you. And I would like to shift on to Sinhala also. I don't know where to start this. අත වශයෙන්ම මේ අපි 2005 මේක පටන් ගන්නකොට අපිට බලාපොරොත්තු වුණේ ඩිප්ලොමැසි ළමුන් තුළ කොහොමද ආර්ට් ඔෆ් නිගෝෂියේෂන් ඒ කියන්නේ කොහොමද තව කෙනෙක්ගේ දේ තව කෙනෙක් එක්ක අපි යන්නක් කරලා ඒක හොඳ විදිහකට බේරගන්න. ඒක තමයි වැදගත්. මොකද අද හුඟක් වෙලාවට සමහර හුඟක් වෙලාවට කරන්නේ තමන්ගේ දේ විතරයි කරගන්න හදන්නේ. නමුත් අපිට ඕනුණා මේ සමාජය තුළ හොඳ කතා බහ කරලා යම් කිසි කතිකාවක් කරගෙන ඒක හරි විදිහට කරන්න. ඒ වගේම අපි දැක්ක හුඟක් වෙලාවට අපේ ඩිප්ලොමැටික් ඇරීනා එක බොහොම රිට්‍රෝටින්. ඒ කියන්නේ it has become not the real diplomats represented Sri Lanka. ඒ කියන්නේ තේරුණා ලංකාවේ හුඟක් වෙලාවට 60%ක් 70ක් විතර මේ රිප්‍රසන්ට් කළේ නියම ඩිප්ලොමැට්ස් නෙවෙයි. ඒකෙන් අපිට හුඟක් පාඩු සිද්ධ වුණා. මම හුඟක් ඒ දුරකදී කතා කරන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඒක මෙතන දේශපාලනය නෙවෙයි කතා කරන්න ඕන. නමුත් මට හිතුණා අඩුම ගානේ හොඳ 10 දෙනෙක් හැදුවොත් අනාගතයේදී අපිට හුඟක් දේවල් කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා. ඉතින් එහෙම කීප දෙනෙක් හැදුනොත් මේ රටට වැඩදායි වෙයි කියලා හිතන අඩුම ගානේ තමන්ගේ ජීවිතයේදී that their day-to-day life they will do better than other people. අනිත් අයට හොමින් කරයි කියලා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා තමයි මම හුඟක් වෙලා හිතුවා මේක කොහෙන් හරි ළමයි හොඳ තැනකට ඉන්න අඩියක් හරි උඩින් තියයි කියලා හිතුවා. මොකද මේ වගේ ව්‍යාපෘතියකින්. So I think I have already done my duty for the past decade, and I'm happy here that most of them are experiencing this thing, and this has now begun make a bohoma then spread වෙලා තියෙන හැම තැනම මේක මොකද ඉවරයක් නෑ අපිට මේ ඊයේ පෙරේදත් ඇවිල්ලා මේ අහලා හුඟක් හරි මේ සම්බන්ධව අහනවා මම හිතන්නේ මීඩියා එක විශේෂයෙන්ම අපිත් එක්ක ඉඳී කියලා හිතනවා මොකද මීඩියා එක තමයි මේක සම්බන්ධ හුඟක් දේවල් කරන්න පුළුවන් මම හිතන්නේ මීඩියා අපේ ජනමාධ්‍ය වේදීන් සහ ඒගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් මේ ගැන හුඟක් ප්‍රචාරයක් දෙන්න මම හිතන්නේ මොකද අපේ හුඟක් ළමයි ඉන්නවා පිටපළාත්වල මේක යන්නේ නැතුව අද හුඟක් වෙලාට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේ අද ඉන්න ටීචර්ස්ලා ඒගොල්ලෝ ටිකක් මේක ඕනම දෙයක් ටිකක් මේ වගේ දෙයකට ගිහිල්ලා යොමු වෙලා කරන් ටිකක් පස්ස ගහනවා ඈත පළාත්වල මම හිතන්නේ මේක ප්‍රශ්න ඇති මේ ඉතින් මම හිතනවා මීඩියා එකට පුළුවන් මේ සම්බන්ධව හොඳ දැනීමක් කරන්න ලංකාවේ සිසුන් වෙනුවෙන් අඩුම ගානේ මේක දැකලා කරලා ආසාවල් ඇති වෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ ළමයිට. So I urge the media to promote this event during these 2 months. Now we have already, this is end of June until August 14th. If you can promote this through your media coverage in papers and even in the news bulletins or any other, if you can ask one of our students to come and have a live telecast about any debates or anything, we prefer to that. So please spread this idea to the corners of the island, and there is no time for, I think we have so much time, I have enough this, for I want to wind up this thing. I thank all the sponsors here and the media people for coming here and listen to us and promoting this event for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your vision towards the screen for the trailer. Thank you. Next, I would like to call upon on stage Mr. Chandrasekhar Singha, Director of Consultancy of our platinum sponsor, Shigadri, to obtain the floor.
Unquote. It's pretty unfair. You put a speaker like Johan in front of us, and actually we don't have anything to speak about. I'm really appalled and humbled by your stature and a product of SLMUN. Mr. Elavala, thank you for inspiring him. And I think you would have inspired thousands of people like this. I had a thought pattern to come and speak, but now all that is changed. Okay. Shigadri with Earth is a Japanese-based company, and we are heavily into research and innovation. Now, just like Mr. Elavala, our chairman, Mr. Naushad Mohideen, is also very, very silent. But in a country that does not foster innovation, he gives the helping hand. So that's where we are here today to bring some new concepts and thought processes that we did for in the context of climate change. Now, that is why we came as the platinum sponsor, not to sell a product or promote a product, simply because we saw you as the warriors and the saviors of this world of all the sins that we did. And I think it was covered by Vimanga. So, distinguished table, friends, media, we are really proud to inspire all of you further in taking climate change as a positive, career building, action oriented, creativity kind of context rather than seeing the atrocities of it. Unfortunately, everywhere we look at today is all atrocities, climate change, problems. I think, hey, we all know that, right? We don't need to be reminded of that. So we brought in a new terminology back in 2007 called climate-friendly consumerism. Yeah? You may have not heard it because it's copyright Shiga Drive with Earth. Okay, it's going to come out now. Let's not point fingers at anyone. The system, the economics, the world economics, the politics, all are built around our own comforts, isn't it? At the end of the day, we want a comfortable life, isn't it? So we would like to pitch this in the context of the globe. SLMUN is a good foundation from Sri Lanka. But I think at the Colombo School's discussion last time, I said, have you heard of the word, or rather, okay, we call ourselves what in the context of the world? Earthlings. So if you have heard or rather seen Avatar, we would like to bring the word Gaian. Gaia is the earth that we are spoiling. All of us are Gaians, not an American, not a Sri Lankan. You know, that's where the UN, I think, needs to spearhead to. So I guess if we can inspire you from an MUN angle to bring this message, and the tools that we can rely on are some of the tools that we developed by ourselves. In a very nutshell, climate change, please look at the abundant resources around the world called this carbon dioxide sphere is free of charge hydrocarbons for us. What are we shouting about it? Okay, we are delivering 40 billion tons every year, and we are shouting and saying, hey, you sent 40 billion tons and not me, right? So in essence, let's try and utilize that, and that's free, whether it is above Sri Lanka or above US or any other country. So hence we brought in a concept called the carbon negative product. All these we will discuss at the conference. Message today from our company I would like to share with you is, think one, me, my phone, my laptop, my house lights, air conditioner if one of us may have, a car, is actually causing climate change. Not an American or not a Chinese. For example, the phone that I would use made in China, I am using in Sri Lanka. Let's say I dispose that in Hawaii. Which country are you going to point your finger? China? No, China gave me the comfort. I used it. So our message is, let's see whether we can reconstruct the phone that can be in harmony with the earth. And we want to inspire to, the next generation leaders. It's very, very possible. It's absolutely possible. We use a toothbrush. I always say this now. I think some of you guys who have listened to me must be bored about it. Maybe for about 3 weeks. Do you know that we would do it out of a plastic that doesn't degrade for 22 years? Why did we venture out to regenerate that? Yeah? It can be churned out through wood or any other sustainable resource. So our whole pitch is, let's not point fingers at anybody, any corporate, any country. let's start re-engineering our own comforts. And whosoever does that, let's applaud them and take them forward. So climate-friendly consumerism, if you may see at the SLMUN website, I think your theme is we dare to move, and we say together with Srigadrai, we have brought the tool to fight climate change through consumerism. So without further ado, when we first announced this, we had 6 billion people on the planet. Today there is 7.3. Wow, 7 years, 1.3 billion. Problem? Yes, it is a problem. However, it is a powerful armory to change consumerism, isn't it? So if the new 1.3, probably even younger than you all, are aware to this fact and are inspired to regenerate our comforts, we seriously can reverse the atrocities somewhat like old people like us did, right? So like Mr. Lala said, I hope to inspire you. Please take up climate change as one inspiring opportunity. Hence, I think you all were inspired to create the UNFCCC, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, under the SLMUN, and wherever we can support. We wouldn't, as a company, know the UN protocol, which you are masters at, but we will continue to inspire you, join those communities, the teams, take the message out that we will regenerate our comforts. Do not sacrifice any comfort in the context of environment and climate change. I am not for that. I am for live a beautiful life, but with awareness, knowledge, creativity, turn that comfort to be in harmony with the earth. Solar, electric vehicles, you name it, a lot of things are happening today, right? So you would be the next generation consumer. That's what I'm excited about. And if your knowledge base increases, you can drive the corporate industry. No more fighting. You don't need that. Everyone should profit. And let's create green profitable. And it can. There's absolutely no barrier for that. So without further ado, thank you so much. Am I to, for the media, do something in Sinhalese or not relevant? Okay, fine. All right, thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Shamin Basera Singha, for that truly inspiring words. Next, I would like to call upon Ms. Yashinka Alas, Education Lead of Microsoft Sri Lanka, our silver sponsor, to speak a few words. Ma'am, you can actually use the mic that is there, if that's easy for you.
So good evening, everyone. It's actually a great pleasure to be here and partner with you at this very important event. So I think one of the questions raised by Rohan also earlier was whether we know why we are taking part in an event of this nature. So I think for Microsoft, it's a no-brainer because youth is one of the key focus areas for us. And actually, it's in the DNA of our company as well. Because for the last, I would say, 15 odd years, Bill Gates himself has had a vision in terms of empowering the youth across the globe. And he has developed many programs. And most of these programs which target youth are absolutely free, where he provides all professional grade software free of charge to students, because I guess students are the future. So all the young brains, the talent, the innovation, everything comes from people like you. So for us to be part of an event of this stature and nature is a great privilege. And if I speak a bit about Microsoft in Sri Lanka, as you know, Microsoft globally is about 40 years old. In Sri Lanka, we are about 11 years as of now. And in that 11 years, we have partnered with the Ministries of Education, that is K-12, as well as higher education, vocational training, and so on, in terms of helping the government to bridge this so-called gap that we have. So over the past years, we have seen the gap narrowing, but there is a lot more to do. And I think students and future leaders like you have a great role to play in that movement, because it is you who can actually influence others to follow the examples that you set. So at Microsoft, we strongly believe in empowering people to do more and be more and actually test their boundaries. And I think a lot of the issues that you mentioned as the world is facing these days can be overcome with the use of technology. If technology is used appropriately and in a right manner, a lot of these boundaries and barriers that we have set for ourselves can actually be overcome. So even in Sri Lanka, we cut across all segments, starting from the underprivileged youth who maybe drop out of school after their O-levels or maybe even after grade 5 and who have no actual future prospects. So we do start from that level and support teachers, students to actually realize their potential. I think students in this room would be the more privileged of the lot, because when you travel out of Colombo and when you meet some of these schools which we have, we really see the state that they are in. And I think kids like you who have had that exposure and who have that knowledge can actually do much more in terms of helping the other parts of the country and the other students in the other parts of the country to actually develop. So it's a great honor to be part of this conference, and Microsoft will be, I think, playing a more technological role in the conference that you're conducting in August in terms of providing you the platform to communicate, collaborate with within yourselves as well as with the counterparts from other countries. So what I would actually like to tell all of you is to test your limits. Do not set expectations. Do set expectations which are higher so that you can actually break those and actually achieve what you thought could be impossible. And I think the student who was here earlier has really done justice to that. So really excited to be a part of this program and look forward to seeing all of you again in August. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Yashinka. Next, I would like Mr. Viran Pera, Director of 3WGE, our education partner, to speak a few words.
Members of the head table, fellow sponsors, members of the media organizations, students, and dear friends. 3WGE is thrilled at the opportunity of being associated with SLMUN and be the education partner at the 8th session to be held in August. 3WGE, Third Wave Global Education, is a leading overseas education consultant. We have a track record of over 10 years of counseling students and facilitating offshore education for our very own Sri Lankan students. We believe that an education enables a better future, not only for the student who undergoes such an experience, but also education is a catalyst which helps change society at large. We all dream of a better future, and thus we are thrilled at the opportunity of partnering with the Sri Lanka Model United Nations 8th session, which has an emphasis on education. At 3WGE, it is not only a business. For us, it's not all about making money. It is also about making dreams come true. Most students we have come across not only wish for an overseas education, but want experiences of new cultures, of diverse environments. and the work that we do enables such dreams to come true. It helps make this world a smaller place, a truly global village. Once again, we wish the Sri Lanka Model United Nations the very best as they embark on this event, and we, as a sponsor, look forward to supporting them in making it a success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have Mr. Rohan Elavala, Deputy General Manager of Sri Lanka
Gentlemen at the head table, ladies and gentlemen, our sons and daughters, Aibuan. Really privilege as Sri Lanka Telecom to join hand with SLMUN. This time, why? Sri Lanka Telecom is there for last 155 years in Sri Lanka as Sri Lankan blue chip company, and we are having 7 subsidiaries including Mobitel, and we are serving nearly 7 million customers all over the Sri Lanka. And with that, a lot of CSR initiatives and a lot of CSR work as a corporate that we are doing throughout last so many years. As SLMUN, this for last 10 years, as telecommunication service provider for this conference, we are really happy to join. But one thing I want to request from these young sons and daughters, that's having knowledge, leaderships at the diplomatic level is very good, that you need to have that. By having that, you know that in the international relations and the wage systems, somebody who hire from Sri Lanka, the amounts that they are paying is low compared to the other countries. But the value systems that we have in Sri Lanka, it's so nice, so good, but those things were not elaborate or written or that communicated to the all over the world. My humble request from these sons and daughters, please learn the history of Sri Lanka, value system of Sri Lanka, while you all are developing your skills, why that you can position Sri Lanka as one of the top countries in the world calendar by doing that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rohana. Ladies and gentlemen, our gold sponsor for today, UNFPA, could not be here. However, we are proud to say that we have partnered with them in the 100 Voices Sri Lanka. Please direct your vision towards the screen. Next on our agenda is the delivering of the dummy checks. I would like to now cordially invite our Secretary General for SLMUN 2015, Mr. KDDB Vimanga, and our Charge d'Affaires for 2015, Mr. R.L. Elavala, on stage. Firstly, I'd like to invite our platinum sponsors to present their sponsorship, Shigadri with Earth. I would like to I would like to ask Mr. Elavolo and Vinanga to remain on stage. Next, we'd like to have our silver sponsor, Microsoft Sri Lanka, to give their dummy check. Our official education partner, 3WGE. Sri Lanka Telecom, our official telecommunication partner. Ladies and gentlemen, we would also like to recognize the presence of our fast food partner, Subway Sri Lanka, as well as our hospitality partner, the Mount Lavinia Hotel, and our official photography partner, Extreme Youth. Our audio-visual partner, AV Dynamics, could not be here today, but still recognize their presence. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is the question and answer session. Therefore, I would like to invite Mr. Johan Senerath on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, are there any questions, any at all, for our panel here today? Would the press or the media like to ask any questions from our sponsors or Mr. Johan? Anything with regards to Sri Lanka Model United Nations Conference? Yes.
I saw in the presentation that there was a certain emphasis on gender-based violence, if I'm not mistaken, with regards to this conference, and also even the platinum sponsor, there's a lot of emphasis on climate change and environmental issues. So how do those issues play out within this year's conference? Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. With regard to those two issues, UNFPA, United Nations Population Fund. The United Nations Population Fund, goal sponsor for Sri Lanka Model United Nations 2015, promotes and has prepared a campaign against violence against or gender-based violence. So this is the campaign that SLMUN 2015 hopes to carry forward. And with a partnership based on the 100 Voices campaign, SLMU in 2015 has adopted it into our agenda. Therefore, the concept or the topic regarding gender-based violence will be discussed in the General Assemblies. Plus, it will also be discussed in the United Nations Human Rights Committee, which will be simulated at conference. Hand in hand with that, climate change, which is the priority and rather which is voiced by our platinum sponsor, Sugar Dry with Earth. This concept will be debated for 3 consecutive days in UNFCCC, the United Nations Framework Convention on. So what we hope to do is we're trying to balance off these 2 teams as part of our major team, shifting policy paradigms. And through the use of our use of these committees that I mentioned before, we're trying to tackle both issues and rather develop a feasible solution that SLMU in 2015 hopes to submit to the United Nations and other international organizations. So I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you. Are there any more questions? Yes.
This is for Shigadri with Earth. My question is whether you all spoke of going into further research on for climate change and the concept of the wooden toothbrush and things like that. So I would like to know how exactly the youth can participate in your research plans.
Hi. Yeah, sorry. Actually, I think a bright idea from Vibang also came in there, is that we are creating an award for ideas. So I think that criteria was set, and I think there is responses rolling out. So that would be the first instance. So it's the SLMUN itself can be the foundation for a brilliant idea in those lines. And if that is found to be worthy, we can take it forward tangibly. So that's one idea of youth participation. Rest maybe, okay, I don't have a perfect answer right now, but the concepts that we are developing with all the research that we are going through right now, Japan engineers included, is the participation for you. We will be actually dead and gone. So you will be actively probably the recipients anyways of all the research that we are doing. Thirdly, I think we released a small handout. There is a address there called Tell Us at Shigarai with Earth. Please do send in your comments, anything you like, anything you wish to send through. And if there is some collaboration we can take forward, for example, like the the youth voices, or you want to create something in Sri Lanka for the youth voices for climate change, we will certainly engage and give you all that we can, the knowledge base that we have acquired through our research. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Taminder. We have one more. Yes.
This question is also to Shigadrai. Sir, in your speech you mentioned we should work together globally as a global community. But then right now, in today's global aspects, there are many differences, many different methods of thinking between nations. So how does Shigadrai hope to overcome these differences? How does Shigadrai hope to put out their ideas globally so that all nations would willingly encompass your ideas and take them into consideration?
Testing, yeah. So it is actually rising above ego. I think that was mentioned by, I guess, Johan and probably Vimanga as well. The biggest issues come when we interact with each other based on our own conditionings, our cultures, our alma mater, the religions, the whole works. So what we went step ahead was exactly this thinking when we started this research. How can we put up an idea that does not tread on anyone's toes? Yeah. So that is basically the commodity. If I forget your conditioning or the proclaimed ego and my ego, and if both of us talk about this mic, how we can re-engineer this mic that is in harmony with the earth is what all Shigadrai with earth is all about. So I'm glad that you asked this question. Our mandate is that to shatter the egoistic approach to the solution. Ego means it's not a bad word. Ego is conditioned mind, and it's not anyone's fault. But if we are to transcend from the mind and work on something, we need to have a magic tool. So our story, the tool we want to bring out is, let's look at the comforts that we utilize. Look at the product and let's re-engineer the product. So for example, if someone, okay, today, if I give a basic example, everybody talks about electric vehicles, but there are pros and cons. But in base, it doesn't matter who invented the electric vehicle. It doesn't matter whose ego it came about with. But we as a world is talking about sustainable transportation. That is all what Shigadrai is about. I hope I answered your question. All right.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to a conclusion of our press conference for Sri Lanka Model United Nations 2015. I would like to make a small announcement. The 8th annual session of the Sri Lankan Model United Nations Conference will be held from the 14th to the 16th of August 2015 at the BMICH. We are pleased to inform that we have extended deadlines till the 2nd of July for both institution as well as private delegates. So we urge everyone sitting back at home to start registering your institutions, or you can register as a private delegate. The age limit is 21 years of age. Also, ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to announce for the first time that Sri Lanka Model United Nations, along with the United Nations Development Program, have come up with a unique panel discussion on the 20th Amendment called 20A+, which will be followed right after this. So we urge all media personnel to stay back as well as the audience. We have State Minister Mr. Iran Vikramaratne, Deputy Speaker Mr. Chandino Virakuri, Mr. Faisal Mustafa, and MP Sumantiran, along with Mr. Rohan Edri Singha and Ms. Sonali Dayaratna as our panelists. So I urge everybody to stay back and experience a discussion like no other on the 20th Amendment, which is 20A+. Thank you.